Hello, hello. How's everyone today? Great. Hope you guys are doing good. Sorry, I'm just a tad smidge late. I have back-to-back meetings today. I had to move a few things around, but I am here now. So let's get this going. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, yeah, it's been a long time. I'm great. Thank you. It's kind of just been, whiplash of all things, all kinds of personal events and etc. that has happened. But more or less, some things good, some things not as good. But yes, other than that, I am still trading actively, which is great. But I am doing mostly swings, so very low risk swings for the most part. But I am still skin in the game, as they say. So beautiful. I guess first question is, does everyone here see my screen? Good to see you too, Delta, by the way. Great. Excellent. Thank you for clarifying. Okay, so we'll get started. I will actually start with USDTD, so the US dominance chart. As you can see, I have this quite thoroughly marked out already. What I'm watching is effectively two things, and typically ignore the time frames in my lines. Those are more for dramatic effect. I typically draw these lines with regards to what levels I expect to hit in what order. So based on the inefficiencies and the structure of the chart, and as you guys know, I'm gonna go be very concise and clear to everyone here. I am an ICT SMC trader, and I've been trading for probably, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years now, in both the equities and crypto markets. But I used to actively trade for Foxian, but I'm now just doing streaming for the most part, and because my time is very limited, so I don't necessarily do alerts. But thank you for joining my stream either way. So USDT dominance here. This level I had circled. Actually, I circled it when we took the 6.5%. And for those of you who don't know, USDT dominance, or USDT dominance, is the chart that represents the dominance of. Oh, thank you, Burrett. Thank you. Is the chart that represents the effective percentile dominance of US Tether against the crypto market. So how much of funds are tied up in Tether versus actual coins? Simply put, if this chart goes up, then the crypto market will dump. If this chart goes down, then the crypto market will pump. It is that simple. So as you can see, I had this level marked already. This blue is what I'm expecting to happen. So I will delete this circle. This is my first range right now. So 5.5 to 5.63, we're in this range right now. What I expect us to happen is to drift up in the next couple, maybe 1 or 2 day candles. But this weekly still has actually swept all liquidity to the upside and has respected the 6.14, which is actually a previous equal high. So what I expect to happen here on the daily is that we take this range, we consolidate a little further, which means we will pump, right? We'll have a little bit more pumping going on right here in the crypto market. But once we start to dip into the 5.5, we haven't quite done it just yet. So the 5.55, that's when I'll start to worry about longs and spot bags, and I will probably sell a little bit. I took longs. I had actually entry points right at between all these liquidity levels. So I'm actually in an algo long, roughly from about here, with stop loss already at break even. So if you are in longs right now, great job. If so, I would stop loss at break even and either take a trim or hold for a little bit longer. But I would stay hesitant to take any long still, because what I expect in this range is actually to sweep the high. We have a very smooth liquidity right up here on the daily, on the 4-hour, and the on the 4-hour right here at the 6.14. But I would say this deviation has not confirmed yet, right? So basically one of two things can happen. Either we consolidate below 5.5. I actually don't have this marked out, but if we consolidate below 5.55, and I will expect us to reach 0.14 before we then want to look for picking up more longs or spot bags. However, I am looking for shorts as of right now, or rather soon, probably within the Asia kill zone session, so probably in 6 hours. As you can see, I actually have an alert popping up right now for an ETH short. I'll jump into that real quick. So typically speaking, the same aspect, but obviously it's the USTG level right at the previous already played out to my orange line. We are approaching this zone right here of inversion at the 25.87 currently on Ethereum. This is the first IRL tap, so this range has not been built out yet. I would actually expect us to, on the weekly, this candle, I would not expect to turn green because we've already broken below the previous range high at 27.15. And if we're going on that assumption, then the thing to watch now is whether or not Ethereum closes below 2,560 roughly. So I'll move this actually up just a tad here just to make it nice and round and clean. So if we close it, if not, because we do have a very strong range here, I am not convinced of this SMR right now because we broke below a key level. So we're back in this supply zone right here. As you can see, I'll mark it out in white. So basically the two white lines are a new supply zone. I would expect us to build this range further. If we were to build this range further, we would need a deviation, which means that we'd need to go one of two ways. We'd either need to break it to the upside or we need to break it to the downside. And right now, the way price is moving, it looks like we need to break it to the downside first, or rather price wants to break it to the downside first. So I am looking to either do one of two things, either to short if we continue to consolidate around this zone and then eventually break below the 25,560 for a very quick short down to the one below 2,000. Or if you are preferring longs on Ethereum, then I would wait and take a long. I actually have an alert set at 2,070 roughly. But my entry, if I was to take an entry, would be somewhere in the 2,700. So just keep in mind, price is showing that it wants to deviate to the downside first. Good news is that if it does, that would be a very clear long to all-time high. So if we hold this range at 2,700 and deviation holds and then breaks back above $2,000 on Ethereum, then I would actually expect Ethereum to take the all-time high, because if we break this range, right, we deviate this range, we're at least going to be breaking above 2,750 on the high time frame, which means that we break in out here. After that point, we'd actually closed every inefficiency all the way down to here, meaning the next inefficiency would be the ERL all the way up on the daily and weekly and the weekly OB. Maybe not all-time high, but at least 44,400 possibly, which is the weekly OB I'm watching here. After that point, we need to look for a new range, a short or long from there. But for now, I'm still waiting on that. Again, this impulse, I would not try catching knives. I mean, that's one thing I will tell everyone, every trader. Unless you are risk managed, right? You could set a limit down here and just say, great, I'm going to make my stop, I don't know, somewhere down here, right? Set a limit down here and then make your stop down here. That's fine as long as you're risk managed. However, don't just blindly buy on a knife. Don't try and catch knives, because knives will hurt you. As I like to say, or as many people like to say, you wait till the knife falls to the ground, then you pick it back up and stab the market. So let's move on to Bitcoin. I am just, if I'm typing correctly here. Great. Cool. So for Bitcoin, same thing. As you can see on the high time frame, we are closing below all-time high again on the weekly. We took liquidity. Now we are actually building what many people would refer to as a bull flag kind of structure, where we have this channel, down channel that we're going into. However, what I like to see here is that we continue to hold this structure, right? So same thing here. I don't expect get beyond, like, I don't expect us to get up beyond 70 in the near future, because we're already approaching a previous range balance, and we've already invalidated this SMR, so we don't actually have a good range yet. Even though we have ERL here, one thing that I do know is that if we break and mount, and then again if we hold, and if we're unable to make a lower low than 48 on the next sweep, so the next time we do a major sweep, right? If we make a low that's higher than this one, then and only then we take the new all-time high, right? If you want to set alerts and alarms against that, great. But for now, I like to keep ranges simple. So for this one, I'm just looking for the short here, at least until range low. I actually don't have this marked out because I actually wasn't going to take a short on Ethereum. I wasn't going to take a short on Bitcoin. I was going to take a short on Ethereum actually, because it is slightly weaker. And I'll get to that in a second as to why I believe that, or why I see that. But effectively, if I was to take the short on Bitcoin, it would be either in one of these two zones, right? It would be up over here, it would be over here. This aligns with USDT dominance, right? If we go back to USDT dominance, same thing. It would either be right here or it would be down here. Those are the two spots we're looking for shorts, because on the dominance chart, a USDT dominance, one thing that I'm actually tracking is the fact that we have a big fat inefficiency all the way up at 7%. This is untapped, so we actually don't have any more IRL to tap that's on the monthly until after we tap this, right? Because the next one is actually all the way down at 3%. So if we were to go IRL to IRL here and shift, basically what I'd actually pump that we get would be something I'm looking to short. So right around the 5.2% in USDT dominance would be the macro level by which I'm looking to short again, possibly, right? Taking one short around here as one, and then another short around here at the 5.55. With the expectation, we bring it back to at least 7% USD dominance to 7.3. After that, I have that circled because whether or not we react and consolidate below the 7.3 at that point determines whether or not we decide to go and take the 10% or we decide to go and take the 3%, because that's a very key level once we tap that range as well. So I'd wait to see that range develop once we get to 7% as well. Good news is that if we decide to do an IRL to IRL switch, what I'd want to see is the consolidation below, right? And then as soon as we get the consolidation below in the daily and the high time frame, I'll be honest with you guys, we'll probably see the biggest crypto pumps we've ever seen in history, because after that point, the next shift is all the way down at 3%. So we're going to see some major, major pumps. I mean, this is almost like as big as this one. I'm going to say it would be even bigger, right? So when we first went from like Bitcoin to being, what is it, like 20 to like now, or it's the same thing with Ethereum, right? I'd expect the same extension to happen later on if we do get the shift at 7.25, 7.3. Cool. So with that all said, hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have questions. Also, feel free to post any of the coins you want me to check out in the channel, and I will take a look now for you guys if you guys have any coins you want me to look at. BCH, perfect. Thanks, guys. So I'll start with that. I'm in a long. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll jump into your question real quick as well. I will look into BCH as well. So for Bitcoin, yeah, as long as you took TP and your SLs break even, I would say again, there's really just two spots. If we tap 61 to 64, sorry, 61 to 63, roughly 62.2. Yeah, 62.2. After that point, I'd expect us to do some sort of retracement here. But we either reject soon or we go a little bit further and then reject after that. So assuming you took TP already, you should be fine. SL break even. Just keep in mind that we are approaching a zone that will probably reject us very soon. But I'm not going to take a short until we actually confirm it. The next spot again would be up at the 67 level. If we extend all the way there, highly doubt it. But if we extend all the way there, or if we consolidate above, right, we do something like this where we shift and then consolidate above like that, also completely valid, right? So until then, we just got to wait for the low time frame ranges to give us more insight. All we can do now is mark our levels and say what we expect at those levels and play the ranges as they develop at the low time frame when those levels are hit. So in this case, you should be fine. SL break even, but just keep in mind that if this range also holds, honestly, I don't expect this range to hold. I actually expect us to possibly, even if we consolidate below like this, that would be bearish as well. I'd expect us to sweep at least to 43 before we make a new AMD range, right? Manipulation range. So slightly still bearish on the macro here. BCH, let's check that one out. And again, if you guys have any others, please let me know. Also, I use the MEXC charts for the most part. I'll clean up my chart a little bit. Excellent. So, Aave wanted. Yes, Aave. I've actually been watching Aave a little bit recently, and I have a good update on that one. So I'll get to that next. So BCH, as you can see, this is still high time frame bearish delivery. We built this OB and validation on this one right at 163, pretty clear right there. We don't have any inversion on the weekly there. So actually, yes, one. So that's already been tapped. This one doesn't. This one hasn't. Let me just clear this up a little bit. Why do I have random? Oh, I must have been trading over in this zone there. Funny. So one thing on the weekly here, we are closing above CE level. We're flipped that. We'll hold this range. Still bullish. Yeah, let's look in the lower time frames. Daily here. Yeah, it's going to be tricky. We don't have any. Yeah, we don't have anything. This liquidity has been taken already. So up here, I'm going to close this. We've already supported an inversion, right? A switch on the daily. So daily has been respecting bearish delivery so far. Has it been? Yeah, so it has started to respect bullish delivery here a little bit. Same thing here, right? It's just like same thing, different day kind of thing. We did take liquidity right up here. This one was taken, so that is, I'll mark that orange here. This one is untaken, so the 146 would be 170 would be target. Yeah, and then we're about to hit an inversion here on the daily, or rather, we've already entered it. So that's a double inversion and then a tap. So right here would be a nice spot to start looking for shorts. So same thing, right? Same thing for BCH. I'm expecting us to consolidate a little bit, right? Even if we get a little higher. And then as soon as we continue to consolidate, if we cannot make it above 350 on the daily, if we do not make it above 350 on BCH, then I would expect the same thing to happen, where we sweep down to like, I don't know, the impulse here. This is all smooth liquidity right here, all of it. Oh my goodness, like look at that. That's just like straight up smooth. Yeah, straight up smooth. That's like smooth as butter right there. Yeah, this is going to be nasty when this does happen. I will say that much. but we have not taken any of it. And then we have this one inversion here that we're holding. BCH is a little tricky. I would say still looking for shorts. I do not want to take a long yet. Oh, I guess Sal left anyway. Okay. Well, hopefully I answered his question. Cool. I will go into Aave. Okay, so Aave I stared at for like, I don't know, super long amount of time yesterday, at least a few hours. Same thing here. Aave looks like it's actually doing a high time frame seek and destroy. So for those of you who don't know, also it's called a megaphone pattern. So if you are looking to use references for that, that's also how you'd reference it. However, it is incredibly bullish. We're reaching range lows, and we've already supported this range. We've already bounced from here. What I would expect to happen is if we can actually take liquidity above 240, we actually haven't tapped this OB yet, right? We launched out of it, but we haven't taken it. So I'd actually expect there's one more weekly inefficiency down at 58, 57. I'd actually expect us to do a seek and destroy here where we actually pump to at least maybe 120, 140. I'd be looking to short in that range. But if I was to load up spot bags, my entry for loading up spot bags would be 58. And I say that because, or rather 59, right? Below 60. Because there is one weekly inefficiency there. That is tapped on the IRL, where we're invalidating this bearish structure right now, or rather, we've already started to invalidate it, right? So, assuming we take the one last liquidity here, or if we don't, it doesn't matter. Even if we don't, even if we just go like this and then go like that, completely valid as well, right? Here, I'll mark this in teal so you can see clearer. Also, completely valid as well. But I would say just this range here is going to have trouble. We're invalidating it already. And if we happen to consolidate above it, like if we go here and then consolidate above it, great. But I would actually expect us to go down to 58 before we take the weekly OB at above 200. So I wouldn't expect us to hit the 200 mark unless we hit 58 first. But I'm optimistic. Maybe we will. I'm not sure. What I'm looking for is the range here. So I'd want to look for shorts around the 120 to 140 range, and then strong longs at the 58 to 57 range. So hopefully that answers your question. And then same thing, I'll do Sol. And then since it's just us three now, we can go from there. So Sol here, very interesting. We're making inversion on top of this other inversion on top of this other inversion, right? We have fractals here, which is kind of clean. So we have 1, we have 2, and then we have 3. So on the weeklies, we are approaching that. I would expect 5 hours. Ooh, this is interesting. The daily candle closed in 5 hours, and the weekly candle closed in 3 days. Okay, so daily, yep. Same thing here. We actually have a clean SMR we've taken already. So if you wanted to take anything, I'd say this is actually fairly clean. We've actually respected it twice. I am so bearish right now on, if anything, I would start shorting. This is actually a great short. We're going into this range. I would close your longs if you're in any, start shorting. And because as soon as we start, if we can't break above 170, or if we like tap it and then like close back below, like maybe 176 is a better range, right? Basically 176, you could have your stop at either 185 or 194 as invalidation. I'll mark those on the chart here. So there's 1, and then here is 2. Those would basically be your potential stops, depending on how much you want to risk or how your risk-reward ratio is. Those would be 2 ranges there. But I'd expect us to do one more sweep here, take out $90 before we build the range again. And if we can take out $90 first, again, super, super, super bullish after that point, because that'll be the third tap on this range. So we'd have basically we have this is where we have the lower, right, basically where it starts, right, where we have the lower low, it to be the last lower low. So 1, 2 lower low, and then third lower low, right? After that, the inversion would happen. We'd get one more sweep, at which point the low that we'd be printing would actually either be higher than this one or higher than this one, basically somewhere here, basically. Assuming it's somewhere in there and we do not make a lower than like this low, be it $80 or $90, then I would actually aim for a new all-time high on Solana from that point on. Same thing with that, because it had been validating this range as well. Yeah. So hopefully that helps. Awesome. Any last ones? No? Great. I will, yeah, no problem. I will, see what else I have. Oh, I also like mentioning spot coins sometimes. So I will give you, since there's only 3 of you here, I'll give you my hidden gems. Beam is one of them. So I don't know if you've seen Beam before, but is a privacy first token. And we've already printed a higher low. Look at that. Ooh. This chart to me is like crystal clean. We might drop like, I don't know, maybe just like to fraction of 2 cents again. But what I like about this chart is I'll show you guys in a second. I trade purely on the technicals, but some fundamentals. I'll say this coin is pretty cool. It does have a solid basis of how it's built on the privacy sector. But what I will say is this chart has no more inefficiencies on the high time frame, meaning price algorithmically will need to move up as opposed to moving anywhere else. Meaning it's basically physically impossible, or if you've subscribed to the method of prices move algorithmically, it is mathematically and algorithmically impossible for this coin to go any lower than this point down here, which is right here, right? That level. So assuming we hold that, we'd actually be inverting every single weekly and monthly from here, right? And this range, as soon as we start to, here's the monthly, as soon as we start to close back above 8 cents, you can see that the targets for this range go all the way up to $2, even if you're just holding a spot bag on this. So this is a very easy 100x coin that I'm giving you guys right now. It's effectively 100x, right? If you just buy it and then hold it for the next 5 to 10 years. So I have some very lofty targets all the way up at $4, right? But Beam is one of them. Beam is one of the coins that I'm been accumulating slowly. My average right now is a little under 3 cents. But chart-wise, Beam looks phenomenal. It's going to take some time. It might take 5 to 10 years, but I got time. I'll be around in 5 to 10 years. Hopefully you guys will too, to enjoy your profits. Another one that I have, or I started to pick up, was Suku. It's actually tradable on a few exchanges. I'll pull up the MEXC chart. Suku is another one, which is actually quite interesting too. We broke the range high first on the monthly. We have not broken below, and if we hold 3 cents on Suku, or 3.2, right, 3.7, 3.2. Same thing on the monthly here. These are my levels here. I already started scaling in. My average is like 4.4, I think, or 3.43. My average is like 4.9. Yeah, it's like right here. because basically I had 2 levels here I put entries in. I'm already in profits, but on the monthly, we have 23 days left on this monthly candle. I'd actually expect us to go a little further down to like 4 cents to 3.8 maybe. So on the weekly right here, I have these 2 levels marked. So we're once we dip through this and hold this OB right here, we're already going to, even if we closed right now this weekly candle, right where we are right now, exactly where we are, if we close this weekly candle in 3 days, this is going to be bullish because we're actually supporting this weekly OB, right? So already in profits right now. Highly advise you guys to check out Suku. Very unknown payment transaction platform for mobile payments and stuff. Really cool, interesting coin. Check it out. But again, it's one of those charts that looks absolutely phenomenal because once it starts invalidating the weekly OBs here, its high is all the way at 1.27, $1.27. So another one that is effectively maybe another like 50 to 100x, right? So hopefully you guys are looking for those as well. Cool. So I'll leave you guys with that. And yeah, I'll have a few other coins, a few other gems, which I'll share with you on my next stream. So I'm on weekly, usually on Mondays. Today or this week I'm on a Thursday because my Monday was very hectic. But I will be on typically on Mondays. So catch you next Monday. Appreciate your time, guys. Have a good one and stay green.